The following is brought to you by the Social Suplex Podcast Network.
Bonjour, bienvenue à Spectacle Wilfred Watches. Je suis Wilfred. Bienvenue à Norbert. Feuillan. Comment vas-tu?
I'm fine. It was a great effort you put in. Congratulations.
That was horrible. Welcome to Wilfred Watches, guys. I have a very lovely guest, my dear friend Norbert. He is the voice with Alain of New Japan in France. Much like we have Access TV here in the States that shows New Japan Pro Wrestling, France does as well. So Norbert has been kind enough to come by again and chat with me today. So how are you doing, man?
I've been ill all week. I've been coughing a lot. Got a pretty bad cold. I'm always ill on the week of my birthday or the week after, for that matter. So as usual, but I'm hanging in there. We'll see. We'll see how it happens. And I want to congratulate you on the growth of your podcast, man.
Thank you. That's very, very sweet of you. It's come a long way in a very short amount of time. And
now it's not just you on Twitter talking about it. It's other people too. Congratulations.
Thank you. That's very sweet. I'm very grateful, and I'm glad to share my platform with friends, wrestlers, announcers, anybody. This is not just me. It takes a group effort. So before we jump into some questions to Norbert, I do want to say I did actually have a Patreon start. So if you do want to support in a different type of way, we have many levels there. You can get t-shirt, you can get stickers, you could be part of the show. So check that out on the Twitter at Wilfred Watches if you'd like that. And I do want to give out a hashtag markout mention to Hisame on Twitter. She is the voice, the English voice of Pro Wrestling Noah, which has been very exciting recently. So thank you to her. She's a great force of good in the world of pro wrestling Twitter. And also Matt Charlton, thank you for joining last week. We had a great conversation, so please check out the previous episode if you get a chance. And a special thanks to Mr. Warren Hayes, a very good friend, very, very generous gentleman who gave me some guidance over the past week, so thank you to that dear person. So with that being out of the way, Norbert, your show has been on J1 in France. When we spoke, it was just kind of getting started a few months ago when we first spoke. How is it coming along, and how is it being received by the French people? How is New Japan Pro Wrestling being received, and how's the show doing?
It's doing, I think it's doing really well. We don't have any idea of the ratings yet. It doesn't work like the same. It's a pretty small channel. G1. The following on Twitter has been really it impressed me a lot. I think we're gonna do fine. I'm pretty confident because when the products are good, it cannot, to me, it cannot do wrong. It did. I think it's doing pretty good. It's a lot of fun. I'm really proud of it. There are many fans that are thanking us for showcasing the best pro wrestling in the world right now, because it is. So I'm pretty confident about the ratings. I think we'll know about them like on Monday or Tuesday, something like that. So
fantastic!
Pretty confident.
So how long, if I don't know if you're allowed to say this, but how long is this current project going to be lasting? Do you have any word on the length of this, or are you awaiting word on how long this show will be running?
I don't know, because we are signed till the end of February for that first. So we'll see. I don't know for now. I cannot say everything that I know, obviously. But the thing is, we're supposed to go till the end of February, so we're going to do commentary for Wrestle Kingdom. That's pretty exciting as well. We'll see.
Awesome. And if you want to say a message right now to if anybody who's listening in France, in the native language, do you want to say like how they can contact you or voice their pleasure of the program? Do you have anything you want to throw out there in the French language for them? Hello?
Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you now. I lost you for a moment.
Yeah, I lost you too.
Okay, that's okay. I said, if you want to say anything to people in France about if they think you're doing well, how can they show their appreciation for the show?
They should put the Twitter tag of the channel of the station. Station is the word in English. I'm sorry. Of the station, they got to say thanks to them directly on Twitter. I think it's the best way. We don't have no hashtag to talk about it. It has not been decided yet, so I've been kind of pushing for it, but there's still no decision made regarding that. But they should tag me and Alain in the name of the station, J_1 FR, I think it is.
Fantastic. So I saw a tweet a little earlier this morning how we were discussing Kenny Omega being the best wrestler of the year, which has been a lot of people have mentioned that in polls and award shows, and he's best bout machine, of course. And I mentioned to you that we actually had a poll on the show where he was rated the best and most overrated. Is Kenny the best wrestler of the year for you?
I'm about to release a video on C'est ça le catch, my YouTube channel, a YouTube channel I work on. He's not gonna be my number one. Okay, I can spoil it. Doesn't matter. My number one is Tanahashi this year. Oh, yes. Who are these people who vote for Kenny Omega as most overrated? Are they for real? I mean, I know it's New Japan, but for example, Bliss is overrated.
I think that
come on. I mean,
yeah, I think that it's actually a reflection of some people who are louder in certain sections of the internet world versus the majority who might not be as vocal online. I don't know if that's true, but you do see that some people are louder than others, and especially the Japanese culture. You are not really supposed to be as loud. That's impolite. So I wonder, I don't know who voted. It was anonymous, but that's the results of what people thought who listened. But I found
cannot believe it.
Yeah.
I watched yesterday, it was in the morning in France, that Golden Lovers versus Tanahashi and Ospreay bout. My God. And I've been thinking about it. I was like, okay, so I'm always going with the Young Bucks for best tag team in the world, but I recall those matches that the Golden Lovers had with the Young Bucks, with Ishii and Okada, with Ishii and Ospreay, and this bout with Ospreay and Tanahashi. I think they might be the best tag team in the world right now. They're not in the discussion because they've been, they've been running for championships, and there was a G1 Climax as singles competitors. But Kenny Omega, what did he do wrong this year? Can somebody tell me what did he do that was wrong or bad? Is there any bad match with Kenny Omega this year? Is there any thing that he did that you go, oh, okay? So there's another thing. Mm-hmm. There's the fandom around Naito is fine. People are like, oh, Naito should have won at Wrestle Kingdom 12, blah, 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 blah. But I'm pretty sure that if he had won that match at the Tokyo Dome last year, or at the beginning of this year, in 2018, they would have turned on him the same they're turning on Kenny. Pretty sure it would happen the same way it would happen to Daniel Bryan after he won at WrestleMania 30. People wanted him so bad to win, but now he's got the title. He wouldn't be good enough to them. It's kind of a trend to debate the undeniable among wrestling fans. It's fine. Every opinion is valid, but there's something I cannot really grasp why you would think that Omega is overrated. Makes sense to me. He's so good. It's really hard to follow up Okada's run as well. Really, really hard. But people grew tired of Okada, and now they wish he was still a champ. Doesn't make sense to me.
It's an interesting time in pro wrestling. I think that the mindset of, like you mentioned on Twitter earlier, that the underdog complex is something that's definitely plays a role into it, I believe. But I think that it's people enjoy following the journey rather than the destination and the payoff. But it seems to be magnified in the past couple of years with not just New Japan, but you see that, as you mentioned, in WWE and NXT, and it's fascinating. I wonder how this is all going to play out. But you did mention...
I'm sorry to interrupt, but I'm really happy as well that those debates are happening. I don't agree with them, but I'm really happy that New Japan created so much passion for the fans that they actually now debate with, and they're really involved in it. I'm really happy for New Japan. And you were saying it was the last 2 years. That's exactly the 2 years where New Japan has grown the most. So that makes sense.
That's a very interesting point to make. Yeah, it is growing, and it's not just growing in America or England. It's growing in France. It's growing in Australia. It's growing in New Zealand. It's growing literally everywhere of the globe. And I wanted to point out you have a show on YouTube, which I was going to ask you about. It is wildly successful. I've popped in on the stream occasionally. It is in French, but I want you to tell me a little bit about it because you have an amazing following on there, and tons of people follow. So tell me about your YouTube show. I'm interested to hear a little bit about it.
Okay, so I'm doing several shows on a YouTube channel called C'est ça le catch, which roughly translate to that is wrestling, this is wrestling, whatever. And I'm not the head of the channel. This is Sturi. He's the guy who created it. And we do podcasts about the show you popped on was a preview of a WWE pay-per-view. Cannot remember which one. These ones are really successful. And I'm doing every week a show called Feuillan et Rabi Live. It's a weekly podcast about wrestling, WWE, New Japan, CMLL, Ring of Honor, whatever. So where we get to call the listeners kind of like Wrestling Observer Live. That was my inspiration, to be honest. So yes, we do many shows. I had a lot of I used to do a Norbert Feuillan is not amused column every week where I was rambling and ranting about things because I love that. And I had to stop because I don't have time anymore. But the channel is C'est ça le catch. Like, subscribe, share, whatever. Thank you.
Absolutely, man. So Wrestle Kingdom 13 is literally just around the corner. It's the most exciting time of the year. As you mentioned, the Road to Tokyo Dome had some tremendous matches. They really didn't, draw it out over a week or two. They really packed it in and condensed it into two really hot shows. What are your plans for viewing? I know that you are 6 hours ahead of Eastern Standard Time in the States, so you have Wrestle Kingdom at a much more favorable time in the morning.
8 a.m.
That's a perfect time. What are your plans for viewing? What do you have some people over? Do you watch by yourself? Are you on the Twitter? What's your viewing routine for this big show?
For Wrestle Kingdom, I'll be up, I think, for the pre-show as well. So that's probably 7 a.m. It's an hour long, isn't it? I have not seen. I know. Well, let's say it's an hour long. So I'm going to wake up at 6 in the morning. Start the show at 7. My friend Rabi, who does the shows with me, will be with me at my place. It's going to be at my place live, and my best friend Celine, she's going to come over as well. So we're going to watch that live. And can you imagine? We'll be just out of bed, starting with Bushi and Ospreay. I mean, no coffee needed. That will get us started, man. This is so exciting. I mean, talking about it, I'm really excited about that match. We were all hoping for it. And then Ospreay injured his ribs. We're like, oh, damn it. We're not going to see this match. And it's happening. And man, if it's as good as the sequences that they did last morning, man, it's going to be incredible.
And also on that point, it is interesting because we've usually see the junior tag title on the line to open up the show for the last few years, and this is a really interesting shift because, of course, the Young Bucks are no longer in the junior tag title, but they usually would kick it off, and now we're getting this incredible dream match of Ibushi and Ospreay one-on-one for the Never title, a title that really fits these two guys very well. It really fits Kota Ibushi perfectly because he is that very transitional type of guy between lightweight and heavyweight. You mentioned coffee, and that was actually one of my questions. What is your favorite? We always talk about food or drink on this show, so I'll ask it now. What's your favorite coffee? What's your go-to coffee? Mine is Cafe Bustelo. That's my go-to in the big yellow tin. What's yours? I
don't know. I drink whatever coffee I can get my hands on. I love coffee. I usually buy a Brazilian coffee in supermarkets, so I don't even know the brand. I don't know, but I drink a lot of coffee. In France, we have bars serving coffee all over the streets, so it's kind of, we don't really know. You don't really... You ask for coffee. You don't go to a bar or a brasserie and go, I want that coffee. You just, I want coffee. And they give you coffee. So it's not the same, I think.
No, it's definitely a lot different here in the States. We have a lot of breakfast tacos and very fattening things here in the heart of Texas.
Breakfast tacos?
Oh, yeah. Eggs, sausage, chorizo, bacon... anything you want, you could put it in a flour tortilla or a corn tortilla. It's a magical place. You would gain 50 pounds right away, I guarantee it.
All right, I don't need them.
No,
I don't need them at
all. Let me ask you something. This is a question from my friend Omega Luke Podcast. My buddy Luke. He says, I'd like to know, with the recent surge of European wrestlers, like Walter and Pete Dunne in the UK, of course, are there any French wrestlers that are starting to gain any traction or could be the next big thing? Anything that any name that we could put our finger on and try to keep tabs on? Or is it still relatively kind of a quiet time right now in the French scene?
Oh, it's a really bad time for French wrestling. It sucks, man. It's I'm sorry. I know you don't like swearing, but I couldn't help this one.
That's okay.
You see, there is a big problem going on, actually, as we speak, among French wrestling fans, because some promoters, some wrestlers have done really bad things. I don't want to expose it right now in your podcast, but let me tell you, the problem is pro wrestling has always been a really shady business, like behind the scenes But the thing is, in France, we don't even have the actual good wrestling. There are so few wrestlers that can make it abroad. There's one guy that got noticed by Jay Lethal recently. His name is Senza Volto. He's a really, really good high flyer, and he should leave France and wrestle anywhere else. He should really leave. Senza, if you hear me, we worked together in the past. Leave the country. Casse-toi, Senza. And there's obviously Tristan Archer, Clément Petiot, who did the Cruiserweight Classic, who's really good, but for some reason is not making it. I don't know why. I don't know why.
That's fascinating. That with the impending Brexit, I wonder how if it will be harder for some of these talents to move around, especially England, where it's red hot right now, of course.
Oh man, yes.
It's amazing. Do you have the ability to keep tabs on any other wrestling promotions around the world other than the major ones, New Japan and WWE? Do you keep tabs on the British scene at all, or any Japanese wrestling promotions?
I really like OTT, honestly. I try to keep track of their shows. I don't have the time to watch everything. But those Walter and Ospreay and Matt Riddle matches they had this year were incredible.
I want to say Jordan Devlin was he had a good one with Walter.
Yeah.
Oh, incredible match that was.
OTT is really, and their announced team, they're really, really good. I think they might be best announcers, not New Japan or WWE related.
I'll have to take a look at that.
So, OTT are really, really good.
So, what do you think makes a good announcer nowadays?
I'm losing you, Wilfred.
Oh, it's okay. What do you think makes a good announcer for pro wrestling these days? Because seems that the very good ones are very few and far between. I was just going to ask you, what makes a good announcer these days in pro wrestling? It's very hard to find some good announcers. Kevin Kelly, it's very hard to find. What makes a good pro wrestling announcer, do you think?
I think that letting the action play out is the key to me. Don't talk too much. My flaw when I started was maybe shouting too much as well. Now I don't do it anymore. Let the action play out and remember that you're here to tell how good it is, I think.
Mm-hmm. It's very easy, I'm sure. As coming in as a fan, you probably get very drawn into it. But people like Kevin Kelly is amazing. He can really...
He's incredible.
He could capture that excitement that we all share, but also educate us. It's very hard to find a very good announcer.
Kevin Kelly and Rocky Romero together, they are fantastic.
They really are. It's fantastic. Really something that is very fantastic to me is thinking about what your favorite wrestling move is. I want to say that, and my friend John on Twitter asked this to the Twitterverse earlier or yesterday, and I thought about it, and I put pile driver, a fisherman suplex, like the old Mr. Perfect Plex, and a moonsault. I love a good moonsault. What are some moves that you just really absolutely love seeing?
Okay, so that's really old school, but I love the Iron Claw.
Oh, yeah. I think of people of a certain age, at least my dad would always do that Iron Claw to me. He's like, because
I'm such a fan of Barry Windham. He's like one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. So I remember his Iron Claw was really good. Not as good as the Sheik's one. Anyway, that's another subject. But I like the Iron Claw. I like the Rainmaker. Obviously, a Gunson, Arco, whatever. It's always great to see one. Mm-hmm. And I don't know why I love the single leg crab so much.
Really? That's an interesting call. That's interesting.
Like the Maple Leaf version is Iso Gresham. I like to give a big shout out to John. He's a friend of mine from the actual real life. I love you, John. And that match with Sabre at Final Battle was really, really good. And he did the Maple Leaf single leg crab. I was so happy. I love the single leg crab, yeah.
And when you think about it, you really can focus all of your torque and advantage to pulling that limb really out of its socket. That's a very interesting call. I like that. It's very unique. So Omega Luke Podcast, my friend Luke has another question. He says, do you believe there's a current lion currently that could be that top echelon where Okada and Tanahashi is in the next 4 to 5 years? He points out that Shota Umino seems to be like he has everything, ready. Who do you think is going to be that level? Because I mean, if you look at it right now, Jay White kind of just came in and he's running the show now, and I don't think many people thought he would be where he is that quickly. Who's a name that we should look out for?
Shota Umino is it's an obvious call. I mean, he's got everything. His match with Shingo was really, really good. And I see a new Tanahashi in him more than a new Okada, but Umino is really likable. He's got fire, he's got passion. He's really, really good. And I want people to not forget about Kawato as well, who's on excursion in CMLL right now. Kawato was so incredible, but he's going to be junior when he starts again in New Japan Pro Wrestling. It was my bet on winning the 2020 Best of the Super Juniors. So Kawato is really, really good. I think Kawato and Umino, obviously.
I'm a really big fan of Kawato. I cannot wait for him to return. I would love to see him come back at like a New Year's Dash. That would be really entertaining.
Yes.
I'm going to leave you with this question. Who's going to win the main event of the Tokyo Dome? Who's going to win and who's going to lead New Japan into 2019 with the belts?
I think Tanahashi will win.
Not very confident, though. Not very confident.
I know. Kenny's in a weird spot right now. There's maybe AEW, is going to probably start something. We don't know if they're going to have TV deal or not, but it's really interesting because it's one of the first time I was pretty sure last year that Okada was going to win. But this year, it's really hard to predict.
There are a lot of more factors involved this year. There's a lot because we don't know where these elite guys are going. We have a thought, but we don't know for sure. Nothing is known for sure. There's a plethora of people that could be heading in all different directions. You see somebody like Court Bauer, who runs MLW. He just tweeted yesterday that a couple of people were trying to make raids on their talent, and we're in the middle of December, almost to January 1st, and there is a lot of action.
What a year this has been! I mean, come on, this year was ridiculous how good it was.
It really was. I've been watching personally New Japan for about 4 to 5 years full time. I kind of got into it about 6 or 7 years ago with Prince Devitt time. And for me, it's been the most exciting and the most anxiety ridden too, because it's a big, big step for a company to go global or to expand. And it seems that this is a totally different New Japan, that they've learned from their mistakes. And I wonder what you think. I think that they're starting to really see that this is possible to contest with some of the bigger names in the United States, like Ring of Honor, Impact. I think that the expansion is going to get very real very quick.
To me, the key, and I think I said it in the first show I did with you, was that it is so good. I cannot imagine how it cannot work out good for them, because the shows are so great, the wrestling's so good. There's a part of me deep down that believes that the better wrestling, the better product. It's you can tell when you read about the Raw ratings, for example. It's not against WWE because they do things that are really good, like NXT and some SmackDown shows, and Evolution was good, but when the wrestling is bad and the storylines suck, the ratings go down. So I'm pretty sure that New Japan, if they keep going with such high quality wrestling and great natural organic storylines, it's going to work out. I'm pretty sure that the whole world at some point will go, oh, this is the best wrestling that we ever seen. I think it's the best wrestling I've ever seen. It's tied with maybe the golden years of All Japan in the 90s. To me, we're in this category right now of it's so great. And I want to add that people always, and with they're right about it for good reason, going, oh, the Kobashi Misawa Kawada was the best wrestling. But at the same time, I really like what New Japan used to do with Shono and Muto and Hashimoto, and the NJPW world is so great because you can see all those you can see where they're coming from. And I'm pretty sure that they are offering such great wrestling. I don't see how the expansion is not going to work out. ROH and New Japan Soul and MSG, for example, that's a good indication to where it's going, to me.
I mean, directly going up against NXT. Yeah, maybe not the same night because NXT and the Hall of Fame actually switched nights, which I feel is a bit of a concession. But
I think it is as well.
It's a fabulous PR move. I mean, it doesn't hurt them in the least to move it. And it saves them face, I think. But yeah, I think New Japan is coming onto American soil and jabbing WWE right in the nose, and we're gonna see who takes the next move from beyond that. It's an incredible time to be a pro wrestling fan. It's so accessible. I can speak to Norbert in France. I could speak to my friend Matt Charlton in Spain. I could speak to Toa Henare in Japan. It's the accessibility right now. You can view wrestling just about anywhere in the globe.
Yes.
You can watch. You can interact with everybody online. It's a really, really positive time. So don't let I would just say to anybody listening, don't let the fear of learning something new stop you, because there's a lot of people online, and we've all kind of, got into this New Japan or Noah or All Japan. We got into this product at one time, and we had questions. So ask those questions, because the more the better, I think, in pro wrestling. It's an exciting time, and there were during the time I was growing up in the Attitude Era, there were so many people that tuned out. I mean, there was a fever pitch at one time where it was Nitro and Raw, and a lot of people left after that. So there's room for everybody, is my point. It's
funny because in France, in 1997, from 1997 to 2000, we only had Nitro on television. We didn't have WWE.
That's incredible.
Because the station chose Nitro over WWE.
Wow.
That was kind of fascinating when you think about it, because
Absolutely.
I didn't tune out. I kept watching because there was the NWO, so that was really cool.
Yeah.
That was really, really cool. And Chris Benoit was great, and Jericho and Malenko and Eddie. I mean, it was. But can you imagine how the ratings, they were so high at the time, and now the wrestling's so much better. And I remember the tape trading era where I was really happy to buy or exchange tapes on the how do you call that in English? On the VCR, VHS?
Yeah, tapes. Yeah,
tapes. Okay, so tapes, and now we got everything we want anytime we want it
at our fingertips, and
yes,
for very, very low prices. I mean, I watch Progress Wrestling for about $7 50 I watch New Japan for only like $8 and some change. It's incredible how inexpensive and the accessibility. I'm going to wrap it up here. Norbert, where can we find you on the internet and converse with you in French and English? Where can we find you on the internet, buddy?
You can find me on Facebook, on Twitter, and on Instagram as well. It's my name. My full name are always my actual IDs on those social media things. So you can follow me, like my profiles, my picture, retweet me, and I'll be happy to speak with all the fans all over the world, in English or in French, talking New Japan Pro Wrestling. So thank you for having me. Once again, Wilfred.
Oh, an absolute pleasure to share my morning and your afternoon together talking about pro wrestling. It's a beautiful art form, and I'm so glad that it's brought us together as friends. So thank you very much for the time. Please follow me at Wilfred Watches. I will link Norbert's Twitter and Instagram and all that good stuff on the show notes as usual, and we will talk to you next time.